Divine Revelations. Discover the miraculous path to your soul's purpose in 7 prophetic days in the rolling hills of that quaint English village. A mystical aura danced in the air, electrifying even the most jaded hearts. Among the villagers, Mary was known as a beacon of light, her devotion unfaltering, her spirit bright. She lived in a charming little cottage, where every prayer whispered was laced with the magic of hope. Yet, nothing could compare to the divine revelation that awaited her, a revelation that promised to rewrite the very fabric of her existence. One night, as shadows flickered against the walls of her candlelit living room, catastrophe struck. Her beloved son, Daniel, was diagnosed with a severe illness that sucked the joy from their home. Tears stained Mary's cheeks as she sank to her knees, arms lifted in fervent prayer to St. Jude, the patron saint of hopeless causes. She pleaded for a sign, a whisper of reassurance in the midst of her despair, and in that sacred moment, the air shimmered, and a brilliant light encircled her. Mary's heart raced. The flickering flames grew brighter, illuminating the room as a voice, gentle yet commanding, echoed through her soul. In 7 days, the path to healing will be revealed. Pray and just believe. With every heartbeat, she felt a surge of energy, a promise of miracles waiting to unfold. On the first day, Mary awoke with a profound sense of purpose. The villagers rallied, candles lit, prayers soaring into the heavens. Word spread like wildfire, miraculous phenomena claimed by many who gathered around her. Whispers of recovered health and opened hearts circulated, fueling unity and hope within the community. They prayed fervently, and as the sun dipped below the hills, something extraordinary happened. A soft glow enveloped Daniel's hospital room. A warmth unlike anything surged through Mary's fingers, igniting a flicker of strength inside her son, but soon, doubt crept in, like an unsettling fog. Faith alone won't heal him, Mary. You must trust science, a stern voice bellowed from a well-respected doctor. The weight of his skepticism sent shivers of uncertainty through her heart, and when Mary reluctantly chose a medical intervention that ultimately failed, despair clawed at her insides. What of my faith? Was it in vain? She cried, feeling alone in her darkest hour. Then came the second day. The village, a collective heartbeat, gathered around her. As they prayed together, communal faith swelled like a mighty river. Miracles began to surface, small yet shimmering. An elderly neighbor shared how her broken leg healed overnight. A child was freed from nightmares. The sparks of divine conversation enveloped Mary, reminding her that even in fragments, hope lived fiercely. By the 5th day, struggling with haunting fears, Mary fell into slumber only to be awakened by the softest of whispers. A radiant vision of angels fluttered before her, enfolding her in light. Fear not, brave soul. They sang. Strength lies within. You are never alone. She straightened, warmth flooding through her, as a surge of energy grounded her more than ever. The intensity of their presence was relentless, her eyes brimmed with tears of joy. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. And as the 7th day dawned, an irresistible surge of peace washed over her. The village held its collective breath, each prayer tumbling into the vastness of the universe. Mary stood on the precipice of hope and fear, poised for the final climactic moment when faith would clash with uncertainty. Would Daniel be healed? Would her faith be validated? As she looked around at the faces full of expectation, an unshakable resolve formed deep within her heart. Tomorrow would reveal all, leaving everyone on the edge, waiting for a divine mystery to unfold. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, a golden light spilled through the cottage windows, casting a warm glow over the room where Mary knelt, heart racing with anticipation. Today was the day, the culmination of those fervent prayers, whispered hopes, and the unwavering love for her son, Daniel. She could feel the air crackle with energy, a silent promise hovering like a sacred mist. Gathering her strength, she rose from her knees and gently touched the cool wall, reminding herself of the community waiting just outside. Each villager was a prayer wrapped in flesh, a testament to their shared faith. Their support, like a river flowing towards the sea, filled her with courage and purpose. The thought of Daniel made her heart swell, he was not just her son but a beacon of hope for everyone in the village. The sun climbed higher, and as Mary prepared to head to the hospital, she took a moment to pause. The golden light streamed in, illuminating her with a divine glow. She inhaled deeply, the scent of blooming flowers wafting through the window, filling her being with the fragrance of new possibilities. God, I trust in your plan, she murmured, lifting her heart in prayer as she stepped through the threshold of her home. At the hospital, the stark white walls greeted her as a solemn reminder of her son's battle. Each footstep echoed her racing thoughts. Her heart beat in sync with Daniel's fragile pulse, and as she entered his room, she felt an electrifying presence. The soft beeping of machines seemed to harmonize with her message of faith, weaving a tapestry of anticipation throughout the sterile air. Daniel lay there, so dear and innocent, and even in his stillness, she could sense the flicker of life within him. As Mary approached, she noticed the faint outline of the glow she had seen before. It centered around Daniel, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she knelt beside his bed, squeezing his small hand tightly. "Sweet Daniel," she whispered, "today is our day. Feel the love and prayers of everyone in our village. We are gathered around you, lifting you up." Her words flowed like a gentle river as she prayed, feeling as if the entirety of creation was leaning closer to her, listening. Suddenly, a stirring filled the room. The energy shifted, pressing against her as if the heavens were about to open. Mary felt warmth envelop her, a gentle caress that ignited a blaze of courage within. "What is happening?" she thought, heart racing with both excitement and fear. In that moment, the door swung open, and the doctor entered, his face a mix of skepticism and duty. "Ms. Mary, we need to discuss Daniel's condition," he said, but his voice faded into the background as her spirit soared. Before Mary could respond, she felt a growing intensity, a divine power moving through her. Her prayers took on a life of their own, intertwining with a majestic force that had no boundaries. The vibration in the air was alive with hope, and she instinctively answered with deeper faith, stretching forth her hands toward Daniel. "Lord, send forth your healing," she cried, her voice breaking the silence like a bell, ringing truths that could move mountains. As she spoke, a fierce brightness burst forth, flooding the room with light that radiated from Daniel himself. The villagers, sensing a shift beyond their perceivable reality, prayed deeper, striving to merge their collective faith into a single powerful wave. In that miraculous moment, Mary felt the divine heart of the universe synchronizing with her own. "Have faith beyond what you see," echoed in her mind as the atmosphere thickened with a holy presence. Would the miracle they all crave truly manifest? Would love triumph in its purest form? As dust motes danced in the light, holding its breath, everything else began to blur. Would healer and healed converge in a moment of grace? The unfolding mystery of divine intervention loomed heavy in the air, creating an unshakable anticipation that stirred the very foundation of Mary's faith. The light thrummed with energy, bathing the room in a soft, warm radiance. Mary felt as if every heartbeat echoed her belief that a miracle was not just possible, it was imminent. The air shimmered with sacred possibilities, and even the machines that monitored Daniel seemed to pulse in rhythm, as if attuning themselves to the fervor of her prayer. "Bring him back to us, Lord," she whispered, her voice steady but filled with fervent urgency. Each word felt weighted, as if they were vessels carrying the collective dreams of the village. And they were. From afar, she could sense the villagers gathering, saturating the place with their heartfelt hopes, their prayers creating a web of spiritual gold that enveloped Daniel. The doctor, standing awkwardly by the door, shifted uneasily, sensing something extraordinary unfolding. His earlier skepticism faded as he noticed the light, the vibrancy of faith filling the room, wrapping around the frail form of Daniel. He glanced back toward Mary, who remained unshaken, eyes filled with a mix of determination and unyielding love. But as beautiful as the moment was, doubt flickered like shadows at the edges of Mary's mind. What if it doesn't happen? The whisper threatened to crush her spirit. Yet, she remembered the villagers, their hands clasped in prayer, the hopes they had woven alongside her own. They had come together not out of mere expectation but from an unshakable belief that transcended the confines of the mundane. Then, the air thickened further, and a divine resonance echoed within her. Suddenly, she understood faith was not merely waiting and hoping, it was an active force, a movement toward something far greater. The harmony of prayer and love formed a bridge over the turbulent waters of uncertainty she felt. As she leaned closer to Daniel, the warmth around her surged like a tidal wave of grace. "You are not alone, beloved child," she breathed, placing her hand on his forehead. Feel the love that surrounds you. In that moment, she didn't merely pray, she infused her very essence into the act of healing, acknowledging the intricate connection between mother and son, and between all who believed. Light began to pulse more intensely from Daniel himself, filling the room with a soft glow that illuminated every corner. Mary's heart soared as she felt the warmth touch her cheeks, much like the sun embracing the earth after a storm. It was an acceptance of grace, a sacred invitation for the miraculous to enter their midst. Outside the hospital walls, the villagers had gathered, sensing the shift. They raised their voices in harmony, their praises mingling each note a sign of unwavering faith that blended perfectly like a choir. Their unity sparked an energy that swept through Mary, lifting her above the physical realm, showing her the infinite possibilities that lay within God's hands. The doctor, now caught up in the palpable energy, reached out, almost involuntarily, feeling the reverberations of divine faith. He turned towards Mary, wide-eyed, contemplating the limits of what he had always believed to be possible. "Faith," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper, filled with a as the light swirled around them, enveloping all in its embrace. Mary felt time stretch and shift. In that moment, she held not just the weight of the world but an expectancy of divine purpose, the promise of healing, the manifestation of love intertwined with grace. Will we experience what we long for? She wondered, feeling the world holding its breath, the lines between heaven and earth blurring. What if this was just the beginning, the first step into a transformative journey that might reshape their very understanding of faith and healing? The profound mystery of divine intervention was upon them, thick with potential and promise. Would they realize the destiny woven into this sacred moment? Would they emerge not just healed but transformed? The truth remained just out of reach, waiting to be uncovered. As the light enveloped them, time felt suspended in a divine balance. Mary's heart beat in tandem with the pulsating energy surrounding Daniel. She could sense every single prayer rising like incense, a fragrant offering woven together by love, hope, and desperation. Each prayer was a root, intertwining with the spirit of the boy beneath them, forming an invisible web of unity. Outside, the villagers sang louder now, their voices merging in harmony, creating a sound that seemed to ascend to the heavens. Each note vibrated with their shared longing, wrapping around Mary, boosting her resolve. With every spine-tingling vibration, she felt less alone. "Look, Mary," the doctor murmured, entranced by the unfolding glow. There is something happening." His tone was laced with disbelief mixed with awe. Mary focused on Daniel, her son, willing him to grasp the energy that filled the room. "You can do this, love. Just feel the prayers, feel the light." Her fingers brushed his forehead gently, as if she could channel the overwhelming warmth directly through her touch. Suddenly, Daniel's eyelids fluttered. A moment of collective breath held as the pulse of light deepened, illuminating the room in a brilliance that resonated within their souls. It was more than illumination, it was revelation. "Please, Lord," she breathed, clutching his hand tighter. "Let him hear the love that surrounds him." Each heartbeat surged with urgency as she became a conduit of divine love, pouring everything she had into him. As if in response to her plea, Daniel's fingers moved slightly, and the glow from within him intensified. It was a soft response, but it ignited a wave of joy that rippled through Mary. Echoes of the villagers' voices flared, creating a barrier against fear and doubt, flooding the room with faith's essence. The doctor leaned closer, his clinical demeanor forgotten in the face of this miraculous display. "I've never seen anything like this. The signs, the light. It's incredible." Mary smiled, tears streaming down her face. She felt the dance of hope and faith harmonizing with the very fibers of her being. "This is more than healing, doctor. It's a promise. Just breathe in the miracle." The energy surged again, and she marveled at how each villager's prayer seemed to add to the majesty surrounding them. It became clear to her, not just a movement towards healing, but an awakening. The miracle tangible, alive with collective faith. "Will he rise, Lord?" A whispered prayer passed her lips, trembling with anticipation. Each syllable a stitch in the tapestry of their collective faith. The answer lingered in the air, intoxicating and electric, and suddenly, within that moment, a voice broke through the soft chorus outside. "What if this is just the beginning?" It was Leah, an elder from the village, her weathered face illuminated with fervor. "All our prayers. They've come to life in him," she exclaimed, raising her hands in worship. The energy shifted, spiraling into one singular purpose. Tears of joy streamed down cheeks, hearts began to race in synchrony. The glow around Daniel flickered, igniting one more time brief, yet profound. Mary felt a divine acknowledgement, a loving embrace through the light, a reminder of God's overarching plan even in the midst of a storm. What awaited them on this sacred journey? As they continued to join hands and voices in faith, questions danced in the air, tantalizing yet unresolved. Could this awakening spark a deeper revelation about their purpose, their connection to one another, and the divine? As Daniel lay in this embrace of prayer, the sweetness of hope hung in the air, suffused with promise. What was sealed in this moment could change everything. Would their faith lead to transformation, a communal metamorphosis that set their spirits aflame? Would they discover the true depth of love and healing in each of their hearts, inviting a miracle far beyond all they imagined? The air crackled with a vibrant energy, palpable like the warmth of morning sunlight after a heavy rain. Mary felt it weaving through her very being, wrapping her in a blanket of serenity and strength. The voices outside, the prayers rising like fragrant incense, were no longer just melodies, they became a living testament to their collective faith. "Listen!" Leah called, her voice rising above the gentle hum. "Feel what is happening. This is only the beginning of something beautiful." Mary squeezed Daniel's hand tighter, feeling the warmth radiating from him, connecting every heartbeat with the hymns of hope around them. What if this unity was not merely for Daniel's sake but a divine message woven through their lives? The doctor, still leaning close, was absorbed in the glow of light surrounding Daniel. "It's as if the very essence of life is shining through him," he murmured, awe painting his features. Sensing renewal fill the room, Mary turned her gaze back to her son. "You are not alone, Daniel, you belong to something much larger than this moment," she whispered reverently. "Let the love in. Let it guide you, uplift you in that same heartbeat." Daniel's body trembled slightly, stirring from its deep stillness like a flower unfolding at dawn. The glow intensified, bathing the room in a radiant warmth that seemed to ignite every soul present. A chorus of gasps met this spark, filling the air with anticipation. "Can you hear us?" Mary implored softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "We are with you, love. Our hearts beat for you. Every prayer is a thread pulling you closer to the light." Mary's eyes twinkled with renewed hope, seeing Daniel's mouth try to form words, though no sound came forth. Yet, it felt as if the air was thick with his unspoken thoughts, a canvas painted by the brush of his spirit's struggle. The villagers outside continued their fervent hymns, voices blending into a tapestry of hope that formed a shield around the room. With each note, Mary felt the boundaries of despair retreat. Could this be the very essence of healing, the uniting of spirits and faith? Leah moved among the villagers, her presence a beacon of hope, her hands raised to the heavens. "This miracle is not just for Daniel. This is for us all," she proclaimed, her voice resonating like a bell, urging them further. "What we witness is the manifestation of our shared love, a reminder that every moment is touched by the divine." Mary, caught in the spell of that moment, felt something shift within her. It was not just Daniel's revival she longed for, but for each soul present to grasp their place in this divine play. What if they could all rise, leaving their fears behind like discarded remnants of a forgotten dream? "Let us pray in unity," a voice shouted from the crowd. Encouragement rippled through them like a wave as hands clasped and hearts closed their eyes in fervent pleads to the divine. The sound of prayers ascended, swirling and twisting like a dance, each soul inviting healing and transformation. Tears flowed freely now, mingling with the light around Daniel as everyone became a vessel of faith. Mary felt a profound truth settle deep within her spirit. Their connection was potent and limitless. Would this fiery reunion herald a revelation that transcended their expectations? As the radiant glow flickered and dimmed, Mary's heart raced with exhilarating uncertainty. Was the miracle unfolding merely for Daniel, or was it the dawn of something greater meant for them all? "Lord," she breathed, "guide us into this awakening. Show us the depths of love we have yet to uncover." With Daniel caught between realms, teetering on the edge of transformation, a quiet stillness enveloped the room, settling into a profound hush. What magnificent truths lay ahead as the chorus of their faith lingered in the air, electric and eager for more. As the healing continued to dance before them, questions hung like blossoms ready to yield their fruit. Would they discover the soul's true purpose knitted within their hearts? What awaited them on this miraculous path? A hush filled the room, pregnant with expectation. Mary held Daniel's hand tightly, feeling the flickers of energy pulsate through her. Each heartbeat between them felt like a reminder of the miraculous potential swirling around them. A moment stretched into eternity as dimming lights flickered again, whispering promises of healing. "Can you sense it?" Leah's voice was both tender and commanding. She stepped closer to Daniel, eyes filled with fiery belief. "There's a power here that transcends our understanding." As if responding to her words, Daniel's hand twitched, sending a thrill through Mary's heart. The energy thickened, each prayer woven around them like a protective cocoon. What if their collective love was the key, the very essence pulling him back from an unseen void? Outside the walls, the villagers' song rose higher, lifting in rhythmic waves. Every note twirled like a spiraling vine, each voice harmonizing as one great heart, beating with unwavering hope. Mary felt the weight of those prayers, saturating the air, and she couldn't help but close her eyes and breathe in that sacred ambience. "Come back to us, Daniel," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. "Feel the warmth of our love. We are here, always." With each plea, something inside Daniel began to shift, his brow furrowing as bold colors of spirit and life danced on his face. It was as if a long-forgotten dream was waking, breaking the surface of still waters. Mary yearned to comfort him, to chase away whatever shadows lingered, but something greater washed over her, a gentle guidance that urged her to let him find his way. Then it happened. Daniel's lips parted, barely forming a sound, yet the room trembled with a surge of electricity, a tangible presence of the divine. The undulating glow around him shifted, blossoming into a soft luminescence, wrapping around them like an embrace. "Mom," the word escaped his lips as a fragile wisp, yet in that fleeting sound, the air went still. Hope surged through the congregation like wildfire. Mary could feel the collective heartbeat rising, pulsing with renewed fervor. "Praise be!" shouted someone in the crowd, igniting a chorus of gasps around them. "He is breaking through." Each face turned toward Daniel, glimmers of hope reflected in their eyes. They were witnessing something profound, the very life force of love reclaiming its territory. Mary's heart swelled as she looked at her son, the light around him churning and brightening, bursting with possibilities. "Daniel, we are here!" Mary shouted, fervently believing that every soul present was stitching a tapestry of faith that would catch him. "Take our love. Hold it close. You can do this." Leah stepped back, her hands still raised, a conduit of fervent energy, summoning the divine to cascade within them. "What was meant to bind us has set us free. We are more than we know, intertwined in the heart of God." Mary laughed and wept, breathless with awe. The walls seemed to pulse as the prayerful energy amplified, and they stood on the brink of a wondrous unfolding. It wasn't just Daniel's journey, it was theirs, entwined with the sacred threads of love, life, and purpose. As the light surrounding Daniel glimmered with the subtle hues of dawn, a ripple of realization washed over Mary. What happened next could ignite a revolution of faith, a turning point that would leave all of them changed. Would they step into this light together, finding a new calling? "Lord," she whispered, "lead us through this threshold. What will you reveal?" And just as the air seemed to pulse with sacred anticipation, the luminous glow around Daniel flared brighter. What cataclysmic truth awaited as they ventured forth into the divine dawning of their collective fate? A gentle stillness enveloped the room, the air thick with reverent expectation. Mary felt her heart racing, each beat echoing the rising pitch of hope. The warmth pooled in her hand, flowing from Daniel, as though he was tugging at the threads of life that had woven them together since his first breath. "Feel the power of love," Leah urged, eyes bright and fierce. "It is here with us." As if he heard her, Daniel's eyes flickered beneath their lids. It was only a moment, yet it felt monumental, like the first light creeping over the horizon after a long night. Around them, every breath was weighted with promise. The villagers' humming swelled, a tapestry of voices pulling the divine closer, making the space sacred. "Daniel, you are never alone," Mary crooned softly, her sore throat quaking with emotion. "Open yourself to the love surrounding you. Let it guide you." The glow around Daniel pulsed with vibrancy, undulating like a living rhythm, the colors merging in a dance of hope and healing. Leah clasped her hands tighter, channeling fervent prayers through her body, each syllable a lifeline to Daniel. Outside, the villagers began to visualize their longing for healing in vivid imagery. faces transformed, and the sound of their shared joy became an undeniable force echoing through the walls, wrapping everyone in unwavering support. "See the light, Daniel," Mary urged, pulling his gaze with her own steady eyes. "It's Goddess love. It's your family, your friends, all gathered to lift you up. You belong here." With every word, the air grew thicker, the hum of congregation harmonizing like a divine choir. Daniel's breathing deepened, matching the rhythm of the collective heartbeat. For Mary, time seemed irrelevant, minutes felt like hours as anticipation danced on the threshold of miracles. A sudden stillness fell, amplifying the soft breaths of the onlookers. Mary leaned closer, focusing intensely on Daniel. She saw his lips move again, faintly whispering sounds that brushed the very fabric of her being. Mom helped the whisper carried a weight that sank deep into her spirit, igniting an inexplicable connection to the universe around them. "Take our love." Mary responded, voice unwavering. "You are not only our child, you are a beacon of light destined for greatness. You can do this." As if summoned by her faith, the brightness around Daniel expanded, transforming into vivid shades of gold and white. Leah's voice rang bold in the quiet. "Do not fear what lies ahead. God's embrace is pure and protective. You have the strength to rise." Her words rang true, and Mary felt the pulse of God resonate through her heart. Sudden clarity expanded within her. This was not merely about bringing Daniel back, it was about a greater journey that awaited them. Together, they would cross into an uncharted terrain of faith, hope, and divine purpose. The gold light shimmered as though it had the breath of life, inviting Daniel to reclaim his place, to awaken from slumber. Mary turbid joy danced through her. Her faith was not just for Daniel but for all else that would unfold through this miraculous moment. "What will you reveal next, Lord?" she wondered aloud, heart racing with uncontainable excitement. At that very instant, the glow exploded into brilliant splendor, spinning threads of divine wisdom twirling in the air. Would Daniel step into newfound strength? Would they all blossom in ways they had yet to perceive? Suddenly, an unmistakable pull drew them onward. A question lingered in the air like a breathless prayer, hinting at revelations yet to come. What breakthroughs awaited them on this sacred journey? The light wrapped around them, illuminating their faces with a soft brilliance. It was a warmth that felt alive, almost like the embrace of a radiant spirit. Mary could hardly contain the flood of emotions swelling within her. Joy, fear, hope all mingled into a potent force pushing her forward. "Can you see it, Daniel?" she asked, her voice trembling with anticipation. "Feel the love surrounding you. It's endless, vast like the ocean, and you are a part of it." The gentle pulse of that light seemed to dance in agreement, bathing them in divine reassurance. As the villagers continued their chants, Mary observed a shift around Daniel. The air shimmered, growing thicker yet more transparent, filled with whispers of faith and murmurs of encouragement. It was like a living tapestry, woven from every prayer, every heartbeat, each thread strong and unwavering. "Believe, Daniel." Leah's voice soared amid the undulating luminescence. "You are surrounded by your family, your community. We are all here, in spirit and heart, radiating love so you can rise again." The uncertainty in Daniel's face began to yield to something. A flicker of awareness shone beneath closed lids, a reflective pause before the awakening. And in that moment, Mary sensed a deep truth: Daniel was a reflection of their collective faith, a vessel for God's light. "Let go, my son," Mary whispered, beautiful tears glistening in her eyes. "Trust in this love." All around them, breaths hitched, the atmosphere charged with expectancy. Within hearts began to emerge the stirrings of something magnificent, visions of healing danced in their minds. Suddenly, a powerful surge of energy sprang from Daniel, almost palpable in the midst of quietude. The varied colors of light swirled more vividly, cascading over them like dawn breaking through the darkness. Mary held her breath, feeling as if the walls themselves held its breath with her. "Now, Daniel. Step into the light." Mary encouraged, feeling the warmth spread from her heart into her voice, wrapping around her words like a lifeline. Leah stepped forward, clenching her fists in prayer. "His strength is rising like the sun. God has granted him the gift of healing." And then, without warning, Daniel's eyes flew open, shining with an intensity that drew gasps from the gathered crowd. A divine connection stitched among them, a divine touch sparking joy like tiny fireworks lighting the night sky. Mary felt the rush of relief and strength coursing through her. Had he returned to them? Was this the miracle they had prayed for? Uncertainty hung in the air, a sweet suspense illuminating their curiosity. "Daniel," she began, reaching for him, her voice thick with emotion. "Do you see us?" A moment stretched, and for an eternity, they shared a gaze. In those fleeting seconds, an unspoken bond bound them, connecting their spirits. Daniel's lips curled in a gentle smile. Was it recognition? I'm here," he finally breathed, each word a tender echo of hope realized, sending ripples of joy through the congregation. Joy broke like dawn through the darkness, a cascade of collective emotion that washed over them. They were woven together, stronger than the threads of darkness they had battled. But as joy bloomed, a new question lingered. A recognition that this moment was not just the climax of their prayers but the beginning of something more significant. A journey laid out before them, paths yet unexplored. What new wonders does the Lord promise us next? Mary pondered, excitement blossoming alongside trepidation, her heart racing anew with expectation. Where would this newfound healing lead them? The aroma of hope hung heavy in the air, blending with the lingering essence of prayers just offered. Mary felt the pulse of life around her, each breath filled with unshakable faith. The villagers, once steeped in sorrow, now exuded an atmosphere of collective wonder. It was as if the very essence of their longing had materialized, intertwining with the fabric of reality. "Thank you, Lord!" a voice rang out, slicing through the silence. It was Jacob, his arms stretched wide, surrendering in praise. The congregation gathered closely, their eyes glazed with a mixture of disbelief and joy. "Daniel!" Leah shouted, her voice breaking into laughter. "You look like the sun, shining bright among us." Mary chuckled softly, her heart swelling with gratitude. Daniel sat up straighter, absorbing the love and warmth pooled around him. This was not just a return to life, it was a transformation, a new beginning painted in shades of divine grace. "Daniel, what do you feel?" Mary asked, her curiosity piqued. She searched his eyes, wanting to understand the depth of his experience. He paused, taking in the faces of those surrounding him. They were like a constellation of spirits swirling in a celestial embrace. "It's overwhelming," he whispered, a soft smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "There's this peace. It's like I was lost in a storm and suddenly found the calm at the eye of it." A murmur of understanding rippled through the crowd, souls resonating with his revelation. Mary nodded, knowing that peace was indeed formidable, a fortress against the tempests of life. Suddenly, a ripple of uncertainty swept through her heart. What now? She thought. If Daniel had returned, did he carry a message for them all? Was there still a lesson to learn, a purpose to fulfill? "Daniel," Leah interjected, a spark illuminating her eyes. "Could God be revealing something to you, something for us all?" His gaze turned inward as if he were glimpsing realms beyond. I remember voices," he murmured. "A call to rise, to share love in ways we've not yet imagined." The crowd stirred, a low buzz of anticipation rising. The air thickened with the richness of potential, each soul entwined in the promise of a new path. "Love is not just something we feel," Daniel continued, his voice gathering strength. "It's something we do together. We need to be bearers of this light for others." Inspired murmurs rippled through the assembly. Eyes lit with excitement, reflecting the embers of hope Daniel had ignited within. Mary felt a warm glow inside her. What if they were not just called to endure, but to radiate that divine love far and wide? "All this time, we've prayed for healing," Leah said, her voice soft but powerful. "And here we stand, witnesses to it. But our purpose stretches beyond ourselves. We are to become vessels of His grace." Mary looked at Daniel, the determination in her heart surging again. Together, they could unravel the very essence of love. Ease the burdens of the weary and shine light into dark corners. The community stirred with purpose, a fresh resolve swirling among them. "Where do we start?" someone called out excitedly. "Together," Daniel answered, eagerness radiating from him. "Let us gather our dreams and visions, each reflecting a fragment of His greatness. Together, we will weave a new tapestry, made vibrant with the colors of our collective strength. And as they spoke, the atmosphere ignited with the vibrant colors of divine energy. Their spirits danced with the thrill of uncharted territories, and whispers of adventure teased the edges of the familiar. But amid this celebration, Mary felt a gentle reminder wash over her, a still, small voice coaxing her to listen deeper. What awaited them beyond the newfound healing? What trials would challenge their resolve and faith as they forged ahead? A heavenly mystery nestled in the air, beckoning. What divine encounters still lay before them? What challenges would shape their steps along this miraculous journey? As dawn broke over the village, it brought with it a soft, golden light that spilled through the windows like a divine promise. The hospital room, once a husk of despair, was now awash with the energy of hope. Mary, feeling the weight of the world lifted from her shoulders, turned her gaze to Daniel, whose awakening was a miracle that felt like a sweet homecoming. All around, hearts beat in unison, pulsing with the warmth of revival. "Can you hear us, love?" Mary whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Daniel blinked slowly, warmth flooding his eyes, filled with recognition and a burgeoning strength. It was as if the weight of their prayers had coalesced into pure, radiant energy. The villagers outside seemed to vibrate with that same energy, their rhythmic prayers now transformed into a symphony of triumph. "Yes, Mom," he replied, each syllable laced with the grace of newfound life. "I feel you all." Its wonderfully bright tears streamed down Mary's cheeks, not of sadness but of pure, uncontainable joy. She looked around at the faces filled with awe, eyes shimmering like the stars, each urging her forward. They were a tapestry woven from a single thread of love, each heartbeat a testament to their collective faith. The doctor, caught in the wonder of the moment's unfolding, felt something shift within his heart. "This is incredible," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper, soaked in awe. "I've never seen anything like this." "But it's just the beginning," Leah shouted, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. "What if this miracle is a call to all of us? To shine our light into the world?" The village echoed with murmurs of agreement, hearts beating like wings, daring to take flight into the unknown. Mary raised her arms as if gathering their collective dreams. "Together, we will carry this light. United in love and purpose." And just like that, a new journey began, a realization etched in their spirits. Compassion whispered through the air, wrapping around each of them like a warm embrace. It was a gentler call, yet powerful, inviting them to be messengers of hope and healing. Daniel looked at Mary and whispered, I saw the faces of people needing our love. It's like I touched a glimmer of their needs." "Yes," Leah interjected excitedly, her eyes sparkling. "This healing is not just for you, Daniel, it extends to everyone. We are meant to share it." "Let us be God's hands and feet," Mary urged, tears of joy splashing down her cheeks. "We have witnessed what faith can do. Now we must act." The villagers began to rise, the blend of voices swelling like a choir harmonizing in the divine dance of unity. Daniel felt their strength wrapping around him, infusing him with purpose, both his and their own. The journey of love ahead shimmering like sunlit waters. With newfound determination, they stepped from the hospital, hand in hand, hearts ablaze with His grace. Each villager laid a hand on Daniel, affirming his healing and offering their strength, their collective passion creating a bridge to a world that awaited their light. The joy of today was only the promise of tomorrow, a testimony bound for the ages. They would visit the neighboring villages, spreading the revelations they had experienced, rekindling faith where it had dimmed. Tears would become laughter, loss transformed into love, a sequel of resurrection rooted in a promise that sung through every heart. As Mary walked beside Daniel, she felt a profound peace settle within her. They were instruments of God's miracles, sculpted for a greater purpose, and the adventure had just begun. "Together, we will illuminate the dark corners of this world," she declared, her voice strong, filling the air. "We are not just a village, but a beacon of divine love. The miracles we carry ought to be shared." "Yes, yes." The villagers echoed, a crescendo of belief rising with them, and as they walked forward into their uncertain yet thriving future, they knew without a doubt they were walking in divine purpose. And as the warm sun shone brightly above, a sacred hush fell upon them, vibrating in the soul of every listener, commanding them, believe in miracles, share your love, and never forget the best is yet to come. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that can change your life. Leave a like now and feed the algorithm to help us reach even more souls yearning for divine light. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this unprecedented ending, and let us know how you felt the hand of God in your own journey. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who desperately need to see this manifestation. A world of healing, hope, and love awaits us all.